story this week. Canada welcomes the king amidst jigsaw war with America. Helen, as our official Canada correspondent, well, there's quite a lot to unpack this week. As we mentioned, the King Charles, Chucky three-time himself, is in Canada as we record, although he's not staying there for very long for whatever reason. But perhaps we should start with the latest in the US-Canada trade war that threatens to bring the entire continent of North America to, the precipice of nuclear Armageddon. Now, obviously, the big question in the aftermath and after mathematics of Trump's exploding nunchucks to the groin of global trade that were his tariffs, the big question is, how will the world painstakingly put the pieces back together? And nowhere is this question being asked more questioningly than in the world of the Canadian jigsaw puzzle industry. It's a time of huge upheaval for this absolute pillar of Canadian commerce. In March, Canada's retaliatory counter tariffs against the US included a 25% tariff on jigsaw puzzles made in America, raising to 30% for the bits along the side and a full 50% for the corner pieces. So, I mean, it's become very difficult for jigsaw retailers as well as the Canadian jigsaw manufacturing industry. So, I mean, how is Canada coping with the ordeal?
Well, Andy, it's very hard for the national mood to survive this kind of a blow that the jigsaw puzzle companies are really feeling the tariff pain. And no one thinks about this, right? When they become king of the USA and they don't even know what the word tariff means, but they're going to fling them around. They don't think of the jigsaw puzzle companies. It's devastating. But Canadian companies selling to the US, keen puzzle doers in the US, now ruined.
Yep.
Importing jigsaws from China, where most of them are manufactured, to the US, nightmare. How are people supposed to cope, Andy, without their jigsaw puzzles to alleviate the stress?
It's I mean, we're very much focusing on this story above some of the slightly more serious stories in the world because we need to alleviate that stress. But without the jigsaws, how do we do it? I mean, Josh, what's the American perspective on this? I mean, this could this be the final tiny piece of laminated cardboard that breaks the camel's back?
I'm worried because the retaliatory tariffs that Canada announced, that's why the US jigsaw puzzles have been extra costly. And jigsaw puzzle importers have been eating those costs so far, but I don't know how long they can do that. So puzzle fiends north of the border may end up having to pay that extra price, or even worse, stick to domestic jigsaw puzzles. Oh. And how many 500-piece Wayne Gretzky's can one person assemble before they give up entirely and move on to crosswords? I don't want to know that number.
I don't know. There speaks the voice of experience. How many, Josh? 7? 10 Wayne Gretzky's?
Don't ask me this. You don't want to upset jigsaw puzzle enthusiasts. There is a tremendous overlap between jigsaw enthusiasts and the powerful writing angry letters by hand lobby. And the center of that Venn diagram is people who have lots of time on their hands. And this is my big fear, is that someone going fully off the deep end because of these rising puzzle costs that they can't afford and becoming the Luigi Mangione, allegedly, of jigsaw puzzles. If you can put together a 1,200-piece cardboard square to look like outer space, you can sure as hell assemble a ghost gun from components from your 3D printer. So that's what I'm scared of.
I was thinking maybe the solution is for more puzzle manufacture to take place within the US and Canada, but you've just dissuaded me from that, Josh.
There's plenty of Canadian stuff to puzzleify, right? You got trees. I don't know how you could represent socialized medicine as a puzzle.
A puzzle with a few pieces missing, but you get the picture.
Sadly, no one in this country can afford those pieces, replacements for them.
Because I guess if you were to do a puzzle of the American healthcare system, you would, I don't know, make a jigsaw puzzle of, I don't know, a doctor or a surgeon, then feed that puzzle to a dog, let that dog shit the puzzle out, and then put it in a box. And I think that would essentially be what...
They don't tell you how much that puzzle costs until after you've reassembled the shit part.
Yeah, and then 300 pieces are missing, and it's going to cost you 10 grand each to get them.
Well, the US Toy Association has said that nearly half of its small or medium-sized member businesses fear they could go out of business because of Trump's tariffs. And, obviously, everything Trump does is to help ordinary Americans, and nothing helps ordinary Americans more than toy manufacturers and retailers going out of business. I mean, that's what America voted for. One Canadian retailer warned that his sales could not just be cut in half, but cut into non-interlocking shapes as well, which is very much a worst-case scenario for puzzle retailers.
It's scary. You don't want independent toy retailers going out of business, because my guess is what happens after that is they just resort to doing puppet shows on the street, and that's sad.
Oh no, dystopian.
It is. I mean, one American toy retailer quoted in the newspaper article said, "We're hoping that some reason prevails with these tariffs. Similarly, I'm hoping that the dead snail I have in this bucket will suddenly grow wings and become a beautiful swan." Still nothing. But it's quite interesting what Canada has put counter tariffs on in response to America. And you can see it from Trump's point of view. For too long, Americans have been confused by puzzles containing more than the 9 pieces a standard human brain can deal with. But the Canadian government has also whacked hefty tariffs on, amongst other things, bowling balls, toilet seats, both of which are very popular items in the USA, I understand, as well as leather clothing accessories, wear now for the Canada-loving American gimp, deodorants, wear now for Americans who love the smell of maple syrup, ice hockey, and moose musk. Padlocks, it's tougher than ever for Americans to keep contraband exotic pets safely locked in the garden shed. Laboratory equipment, which isn't a problem because science is being banned in America anyway. Torpedoes apparently are subject to tariffs now. So America's many Second World War naval warfare recreation fans are going to have to go back to training their dogs to swim across the lake into the hull of the enemy boat and then bark to make the sound of an explosion. Also facing tariffs, portable forges, where now for all America's wannabe Roman god Vulcan impersonators, and swivel chairs. Who's going to stroke those white cats? So, I mean, these are difficult times, even beyond the puzzle industry.
I just don't know what I'd do without my portable forge. Deepest sympathies, Josh, for what you're going through.
It's really tough down here. I'm nearly swordless at this point.
Devastating. I suppose now you can carve your bowling balls out of a mighty American redwood rather than a Canadian maple.
Yeah. I mean, you get so many more bowling balls out of a redwood than a maple. They're not quite as fragrant, though, I don't think.
Less sticky.